Gas prices are at an all-time high this summer here in Central Florida, and the heat might be to blame. I'm Serra Sowers. More on why coming up next. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced his bid for the 2024 presidential election yesterday. We asked Orlando residents what they think of the upcoming race. The Galaxy Spin Coaster here at Fun Spot in Kissimmee doesn't have individual seatbelts for its riders. Instead, it has a lap bar and a safety handle for them to hold on to. Here at the very tip of Cedar Key, businesses like these ones stand on stilts, and they're taking matters into their own hands ahead of Hurricane Idalia, expected to make landfall in less than 24 hours.
Sarah, police say the suspect also left a threatening voicemail.
This act of vandalism is not the first of its kind, targeting the Jewish community here in Gainesville. Signs like this one have been cleaned and replaced since the incident last week. 50-year-old Joffrey Allen Lush had his first appearance in court earlier today. In early morning on November 24th, surveillance video from Chabad showed a man in a trench coat damaging signs, banners, and the sidewalk with hate speech. The night before the vandalism, University of Florida Hillel received a threatening voicemail that may be linked to this crime. Chabad Rabbi Aaron Notik says the community is resilient in the face of hate.
So I believe that real change begins with small acts, right? Where we speak about adding in positivity and light, especially now where it's less than a week from the holiday of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights.
And ahead of Hanukkah next week, Notik asks that everyone participate in good deeds to counteract this bad deed. Reporting live from the Chabad Center in Gainesville, Serra Sowers, WUFT News. And I'm Serra Sowers. In Commitment 2024, our special report zeroes in on political polling. You've probably heard of it, but have you ever been surveyed?
Struggle for affordable housing here in Central Florida has made finding a place to live tough for some residents.
In this week's Community Champion, West 2's Bethany Cates takes a look at one nonprofit organization shining a light on improving people's lives, one home at a time. And up next, summer travel season continues here in Central Florida as locals try to escape the heat.
Yeah, we have some tips and tricks.
When desktops power down and the office lights shut off, two environmental educators head out to explore the places they spend their work week protecting. On the surface, their heads look like any other swimmer treading water. But below, they bring a different sense of wonder to the crystal clear water above Alexander Springs' bubbling boil.
Because it's not every day you get to have a conversation with a mermaid.
Nope. Mermaids Tracy Trussler and Whitney Swinford have been swimming through Florida's State Park Springs for the last decade.
Actually, this was my very first spring that I swam in a mermaid tail.
Behind the tail, they have used their fins to push forward a message of environmental stewardship.
We do education about Florida's coastal ecosystems, and so I started working there about the same time that I started becoming a mermaid, and so it was just a good fit because I feel like mermaids are a good sort of visual way of expressing humanity meeting, the water and the environment. It's a connection.
Whitney folds in environmental edutainment into her part-time Mermaids events business.
It's not a full-time gig for me. It's it's a side business, but I've loved the friendships I've made along the way.
The two friends commute from the coasts to enjoy Florida's natural springs as mermaids. Headpieces full of sparkles, wraps and beads, colorful tails. All the pieces that help Tracy and Whitney transform.
That's pretty good.
Using tails made of silicone or fabric, these women shimmy into their custom costumes with latex lube before sliding into the water. And they join a community of hundreds of Florida mermaids, even attending meetups like Alexander Springs Mermaid Mondays.
This whole community of other people who are mermaiding for a variety of different reasons, some just recreationally, some professionally, and they were all over the world. And I was like, these are my people.
Becoming a real mermaid is an intense physical process, but for Tracy and Whitney, it is all worth it. These mermaids hold their breath as they swim against the current.
It can be very physically demanding. It's great core workout if you're swimming.
But whether in tail or on 2 feet, the so-called mermaid magic remains.
Mermaids are mermaids. We're always mermaids, even if we're not in tail.
Inspiring people of all ages to embrace their mermaid spirit.
There's no age limit, and I want people to know that there's no age limit to imagination and believing in something like mermaids.
And exploring their playground they hold so dear, Florida's waterways. Serra Sowers, WUFT News. WESH2 Investigates obtained this video of other passengers being taken off the ride after a 6-year-old boy fell from the Galaxy Spin coaster on Thursday. The man, who doesn't want to be identified, captured the video and works nearby.
I came out right after it happened and screaming. Family that was being taken out of the car that they stopped was really upset and crying and were very emotional. They hit the emergency stop to stop all the other cars because the paramedics had to be underneath the coaster. And that's the only way they could get them down because there's no walkway there.
Children riding have to be at least 48 inches to ride alone and 42 inches to ride with an adult. The Galaxy Spin coaster here at Fun Spot in Kissimmee doesn't have individual seatbelts for its riders. Instead, it has a lap bar and a safety handle for them to hold on to. Here's what we know. The ride passed state inspection on May 25th. According to a sticker posted outside the ride, its next inspection date would be in November. The ride was inspected Friday by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. FunSpot Management says inspectors, quote, found the ride to be in normal operating condition with no mechanical issues. They also found the ride was operated following all safety procedures and guidelines outlined by the manufacturer and industry standards. Dorney Park in Pennsylvania has a similar coaster, but an individual seatbelt secures each rider. Ride safety expert Ken Martin said, quote, all amusement rides should have safety belts for each and every passenger. It's common sense. One size does not fit all. WESH2 Investigates has requested state records on the Galaxy Spin's history, but they may not be returned for months. Last year, 14-year-old Tyree Sampson died when he fell from the freefall drop tower ride on International Drive. Lawmakers passed measures for ride safety following the incident, including a law that shields the release of ride accident reports and investigative documents. The attorney for Tyree's family has his own concerns.
It's about safety, about someone's life. It's that important to prevent the public, the media, and other industry leaders from getting this information in real time. And if something happens to a child next month, that really is on the Florida legislature for passing a section they did not need.
It is unclear what documents we requested will be released by the state and when. The identity and condition of the boy taken to Arnold Palmer in Orlando has not yet been released. Reporting in Kissimmee, Serra Sowers, WESH2 News.